Welcome to my channel English with Welcome to my channel English with SB sir. Today we are going to learn or discuss a poem written by John Keats, one of the most important romantic poets. John Keats was born in London. I begin this video to homage Keats by saying his word, I think I shall be among the English poets after my death. Actually, John Keats, when he published his writings or poetry, in that time he faced lukewarm criticism from the critics during his lifetime, and everything was going against him in his personal life also. So when the critics harshly criticized him, he said this, I think I shall be among the English poets after my death, after his death. Really it happened, and still he is one of the best read and remembered and famous poets in English poetry. Today's topic is the poetry of earth. The poetry of earth. This poem, the poetry of earth, written by John Keats, who was born in 1795 and died in 1821. That means he died at the age of 26, at the mild age of 26. This poem, the poetry of earth, was first composed December 1816. December 1816. Actually, it's an interesting background or history of the origin of the poem, the poetry of earth. It was a competition between his friend Religant and himself, who would write a sonnet first. It is a sonnet, and Keats wrote this sonnet in that time with the name On the Grasshopper and Cricket. Instantly he gave the name On the Grasshopper and Cricket. Later the title was changed, and the present title is The Poetry of Earth. The Poetry of Earth. It was the history of this poem. But it was published 1884. That means after his death. It is called posthumously published. It was published posthumously, Mittur por, posthumously after his death, in the book The Poetical Works of John Keats. In the book The Poetical Works of John Keats. In the book The Poetical Works of John Keats. Now this is a sonnet because this poem is consisted of 14 lines. This poem is consisted of 14 lines. At first we go through the text. The poetry of earth is never dead. The poetry of earth is never dead. Next time, when all the birds are faint with the hot sun and hide in cooling trees, a voice will run from haze to haze about the new moon mid, about the new moon mid. That is the grasshopper. He takes the lead in summer luxury he has never done with his delight. For when tired out of fun, he rests as is beneath some pleasant weed. The poetry of earth is ceasing never on a lone winter evening when the frost has wrought a silence. From the stove there shrills the cricket's song, in warmth increasing ever, and seems to one in drowsiness half lost, the grasshoppers among some grassy hills. This is the poem. So the title, The Poetry of Earth, what does it mean? The poetry of earth, that means the music or sound of nature. The music or sound of nature. We know that there are lots of sounds in nature, that means the singing of the birds, or the sounds of creatures, or the rustling sounds of the leaves, or the rumbling sound of the spring or river. There are lots of sounds in the nature. The poet John Keats here emphasizes and declares that the poetry of art is never dead. The very first line is the poetry of the art, that means the sound of nature, the music of nature is never dead, that is it is immortal, it is ceaseless, it is continuous, কখনোই মৃত্যু হয় না, it is continuous, ceaseless. The poetry, that means sound of nature. As sound, we can see, we can call the sound is the symptom of life. So in this earth, in this universe, the life continues. So poetry, the music of earth, is never dead when all the birds are faint with hot sun. Now in the second line, the poet says, describes a summer day, and it was a very scorching, it was a very hot day for the scorching heat of the sun. In that particular time, the birds, they become faint. Faint means tired. Faint means senseless. Faint with the hot sun. They become senseless. So the bird need rest, especially need rest. So they take rest under the cooling shades of the trees with the hot sun, and hide in the cooling trees. That means under the cooling shades, in the cooling shades of the trees. A voice, that means in that particular time, it seems that the birds become senseless, they are faint, they are taking rest in the trees. So in that particular moment, it seems that the music stops, the music of nature stops. But here the poet says no, it is not the stoppage of music, because the first line he declares that it continues. So we see a voice will run. A voice will run. It is very important line. A voice will run. There is questions, whose voice? Then from haze to haze, a voice will run. That means in that particular time, when birds stop their singing, you can see, you can listen a voice. You can listen a voice. From where? From haze to haze. What is the meaning of haze? Haze means bush or bushes. From one bush to another, you can see, you can listen a music or voice in that particular time. Whose voice is this? About the new mown mead. What is the meaning of new mown mead? This expression, it means, mead means field or cultivated land. New mown, that means new mown mead means a field where the grass or corns are recently cut. Grassy field or is cleared, recently cleared by cutting the grasses or bushes or weeds. It is called new mown mead. In that new mown mead, that is the grasshopper. Who is the singer here? Grasshopper. That means after the birds, when the birds stop their song, the grasshopper comes and it starts to sing from haze to haze about the, beside the new mown mead. He takes the lead. Now he is the lead singer of summer. Here the poet, in this line, the poet expresses or describes the day of summer in summer luxury, and it is the luxurious time. It is a very hot day, scorching heat is there. The birds become tired, senseless, as they cannot sing anymore. But in that particular time, it is the time, the favorite time for the grasshopper, and there is no stop of the music of nature or the poetry of art, because after the bird, the grasshopper takes the lead. He now starts the song. It is the luxurious time of, this is the luxurious time of, or comfortable time to the grasshopper. He has never done with his delight. He has never done with his delight. Now it is the most important time, and he is very much pleased and delighted and joyful, elated in this time. That means he is very, very much happy in this time, for as he is singing now. For when he tired out of fun, but when the grasshopper sings and sings continuously singing, he is continuously singing in the summer with pleasant and lot of joy and exuberance, utsaho anando niye. In that particular time, he becomes also tired, and so he needs rest. He rests at ease. At ease is, these words comes from these words. Look at the words easily. We say the word easy, easily. It is easy, easily. The noun form of is easy. The noun from easy is rest at ease. That means he rests easily, comfortably. Beneath means under. Beneath means under some pleasant weed. Pleasant means wonderful, comfortable. Weed means unwanted plants. Unwanted plant. Job jar agacha. Weed means unwanted plant. So it is the first 8 line. It is the first 8 line. In the first 8 line, we see that Keats describes the day of a summer. What happens in the day of a summer? There we can see the 2 characters. There the nature is prominent here. The birds first, then we see the grasshopper. Also there mead, haze, cooling trees. Everything is there. It is a very pastoral sight. It is a very pastoral sight. Nature is prominent here. Now comes the second part. Here the poetry of earth is ceasing never. This line reflects the first line. The poetry of earth is never dead. The poetry of earth is ceasing. Ceasing means stopping. Ceasing means stopping or ending. Ending never. The poet repeats the same line here in this number line, 9th number. So the meaning of these 2 lines, first line and 9th line, is same. On a lone winter evening. On a lone means lonely, solitary, winter evening. Now it is the season. Here Keats describes the season of winter, and this evening is a lonely winter evening. That means it is not a comfortable winter evening. It is a lonely winter evening. In the first stanza, we see that there is extreme hot temperature or weather. Now it is not a comfortable winter. It is a lone winter evening because when the frost, at that time when the frost has wrought means made a silence, because in that particular time the frost is falling, the temperature becomes very low and mercury dips down below 0 degree. That means the condition is very foul and bleak condition, unfavorable condition. In that particular time, that means now the grasshopper stops music. That means seems again that it is the stop of the poetry of earth or music of art. But no, in that particular time also from the stove there shrills cricket's song from the stove. Now the poet takes us inside a room. There in the wintry country, you can see there is a hearth or fireplace or stove. It is used to increase the temperature, increase the room temperature. So stove is there inside. We can see inside a room, and there is a stove that is used to increase the inner temperature of the room. So here from the stove there shrills the cricket song. Here creaks the cricket. Now it is the creature, natural creature, cricket. He comes and takes the lead and he starts to sing. When grasshopper stops, it is not the stoppage of the poetry of earth. It is not the end of the poetry of earth. It is not there is no pause of poetry, sound, music of nature or sound of nature. This time, in the time of winter, cricket comes and starts to sing in warmth increasing ever. As it is, the poet takes us inside a room and there is a stove, and the stove increases the temperature, the room temperature. So the warmth, that means the temperature here increasing ever. Gradually the temperature from a very harsh temperature, it becomes gradually a comfortable temperature, comfortable inside the room, increasing ever, and seems to one there is a person inside the room. It may be poet or someone else, in drowsiness, half lost. When the temperature was very cold, the person inside the room was suffering from cold, but after some time, when the stove provides the enough warmth or heat to become a comfortable atmosphere inside the room, the person feels very so comfortable that he feels sleepiness. He feels sleepiness. Drowsiness means sleepiness, ghum half lost. Now he is sleepy and he is in half lost. That means his consciousness, he is not totally conscious. He is half lost. He is in that state. He cannot remember everything very accurately. He is half lost. Remember this line, drowsiness, half lost. in the state of helpless, that means he is in subconscious level, he is in not properly fully conscious level, he is in subconscious level, half lost. The grasshoppers among some grassy hills, the grasshoppers among some grassy hills. Now beside the stove, a grasshopper starts singing, and the person is inside the room. As the temperature increases ever, and he feels warmth, gradually he feels warmth, and this warmth and brings sleepiness to his eyes, and he becomes subconscious. And in that particular time, the cricket sings, but the person inside the room who is in half drowsiness, half sleepiness, thinks that the song he takes the cricket song for the song of the grasshopper that comes from a grassy hills. That means in that particular time, when the temperature increases inside the room, the person feels is in half drowsiness, in subconscious mind, that he feels so comfortable that feels it is not the winter time, it becomes summer again. So the song represents to him as the song of, he thinks in his drowsiness that it is the song of the grasshopper, and it comes from the grassy hills. That means the snow covered hills, the snow vanishes from the hills, and again the grass comes out in the hills, and grass covers the hills. So he thinks in his comfortable state, he feels that it is not the winter, though it is winter, it is not the winter, it summers again, and it is not the song of the cricket, it is the song of the grasshopper. This is the poem. Again we go to the formation of the poem. It's a sonnet. Sonnet, what is a sonnet? Sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. Sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. Number one characteristic of a sonnet is it must be composed of 14 lines. 14 lines with particular rhyme scheme. Number two, there must be a particular rhyme scheme. Where is the rhyme scheme? You notice here that is a Petrarchan or Italian sonnet. Type of the sonnet is a Petrarchan or Italian sonnet. It has an octave. That means the first 8 line is called octave. And the second 6 line is called sestet. Octave and sestet. In the octave, we can see there are two stanzas. This consists of 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. This up to this. It is called quartan. A stanza in poetry, a stanza of 4 lines is called quartan. So it is the first quartan and it is the second quartan. Here there are 6 lines in the sestet, and these 6 lines is divided into 2 stanzas. One stanza consists of 3 lines. These 3 lines stanza is called text sects. Quartan and text sects. Quartans, it should be quartans and text sects. So where is the rhyme? Dead. If I give the rhyme a name, suppose A, it is A, B, B, A. Dead made. A, sun run. A. Again, A, B, B, A. How? Lead. Dead, mid, lead, weed. So these are A, and sun, run, and done, fun, V, V. It is the octave. 2 quartans, A, B, B, A, A, B, B, A. Here the rhyme scheme of the octave is A, B, B, A, A, B, B, A. And the sestet is consisted of 2 text sects. A stanza of 3 lines is called text sect. So 2 text sects, 1 C, D, E, C, D, E. New, never, ever. Frost, lost. Shields, his. Okay? So it is the rhyme scheme. C, D, E, C, D, E. You should remember it. C, D, E. A, B, B, A, A, B, B, A, C, D, E, C, D, E. Rhyme scheme is here. Romantic. It's a romantic. If you analyze this poem, it's a romantic poem. Each line reverberates. That means echoes with the sound of nature, and nature is the plays the prominent role here. The first stanza is absolutely a pastoral scene. Here we can see again a winter scene, winter days scene, but there is the inside of a room. Next, it encompasses, that means this poem is a composition of mingles of two extreme climate. This is the octave in the first 8 lines. That means in the octave you can see it is the scorching heat, that means extreme summer, and in the sestet last 6 lines you can see it is the description of an extreme cold weather, that means extreme, it is extreme hot and extreme cold. It is extreme hot and extreme cold. Type, I have already told you. Mood, the mood of the poem is a joyous. It is a joyous and hopeful mood, optimistic mood. Though the atmosphere is very harsh, though the atmosphere is totally bleak, though it is not unfavorable, but still the poetry of art, the sounds of nature reminds us that it will continue. So there is lot of hope in our life. So it is hopeful, joyous and optimistic. The setting of the poet is luxurious. It celebrates all the phases of nature. Though the weather is very harsh, it is not comfortable, it is a bleak or foul atmosphere, but the poem celebrates nature, accepts it, and during this harshness and this bleak atmosphere, the sound continues. That means hope survives. The central idea of the poem, what is the central idea of the poem? You can see that the sound of nature, this is the sound of nature. Poetry of art means sound of nature, or poetry of art is seamless. Seamless means continuous, without any stop. Without any stop, there is no stop of it. The sound has no stop. Even conditions and weather are the worst or foulest, the music of the nature continues throughout the year. The weather may be very bleak or foul or its worst. Here is the extreme hot, here is extreme cold, but the sound continues. The sound continues with the change of the season. The season changes. It is the season changes because the poet takes 2 seasons and winter to express the whole year. That means to express the season cycle. So with the cyclically the season changes, but the poetry of art continues. The poetry of art continues. The singer may change, but here the singer changes. The singer changes for song. Here grasshopper represents the summer and the cricket represents the winter. It takes the lead of summer. Again the cricket, when winter comes, cricket leads to take on the nature's sound. So, but the poetry of art, that means music of art, the sound of art is incessant. Incessant means continuous, that is immortal. It is immortal. So, I think you must comprehend the poem, understand the poem. If you like my video, please subscribe and share and write comment. Stay tuned with my channel. Thank you. Bye for the day.